Beside the sea a shell is sought, with joy at finding is here now brought. So many kinds abound our shore, now of these treasures let's find out more.
Hello. Jamie, what have you got there? You've got a shell. You're going to show it to me? That's lovely. What have we got here? We've got lots of shells. Can you see your shell? Yes, that's right. That's it. But there are lots of different shells like that, aren't there?
Conchology, the study of shells, has fascinated mankind since prehistoric times and still does today. Let us discover the processes involved in putting such a collection together. After a day's collecting, the shells need to be thoroughly cleaned, washing them in warm water with a mild detergent, the sand brushed out, and the shells then put aside to dry. Then begins a rough identification of the shells, sorting them into different containers according to type. A note is made of where and when the shells were found. A final identification entails careful researching using specialist books. At times it can be a lengthy process to get it just right. The red marks show where this collection of British shells have been found, mostly on the west and south coasts of England and Wales, the Isles of Scilly and Channel Islands. Having identified the shell, it is then recorded in a record book on the page for that particular species, which indicates in which box it can be stored. The box with related shells is retrieved, the shell carefully put in place, and finally given its label. Although the first place to look for shells is the high water line, a close examination using a magnifying glass to study the sandy debris from the very fine drift lines will often reveal delicate, tiny shells.
Yes, they're tiny, you see. There it is, it's there. Yes, well this has got the spiral. And then
The different shapes of shells is a feature which makes the study of them so interesting. Shells belong mainly to two groups, the univalves, or gastropods, which coil in a spiral as they grow in size and length, and the bivalves, with two shells, both fairly identical and symmetrical.
As in a razor shell.
And you've got even the little ones, the ligament holding them.
Oh, big one, big one.
And then sometimes the shape is a bit different, but they've got a flatter base. And these are other things that are found on the seashore, but are not in the family of seashells. You've got the barnacles and the sea potato, and then the sea urchin.
Sea urchins have a beautiful 5-rayed symmetry, and the spines fall off after the creature has died. Collecting shells of different sizes of specimens in the one type of shell can be very absorbing. The habits and physiology is another fascination.
So these three show the holes where the animal has bored through with its acid and eaten its victim.
Some have slits to allow the passage of water and other waste materials. The different shapes of shells is a feature often reflected in their descriptive names. Angel's wings, pelican's foot, Chinaman's hat, top shell, Hungarian cap, tusk shell, screw shell, Many shells show beautiful patterns of sculpturing, yet another facet of interest to a collector. Others are brightly coloured of all hues. It is the variety of patterns, colours and shapes that make up such an intrinsically beautiful collection. Today, shells are sold in gift shops, used for decorating and trimming boxes, creating collage pictures or animal figures. Shell collecting is an endless treasure hunt and the start of a rewarding, worthwhile, absorbing pastime.
Look in the rock pools and along the seabed, for shells are intriguing, and often 'tis said, how wondrous indeed we clearly can hear the sound of the sea when once held to the ear. Now venture further, go and explore. There are treasures in plenty upon the seashore.